family needed a car.
Who's on the hook for this mother-in-law's generosity?
I've been trying to collect the money from her since...
Collected from your son. She's a married person. This is a marital debt.
Family friction goes into overdrive.
You had an argument with her.
She pushed me, demanded that I pay her money. I said, take it up with your son. She said, I'll see you in court.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Erna Lee Grady is suing her daughter-in-law, Jennifer Miller, for a car loan that's in Erna Lee's name.
Order. All rise. This is case number 140 on the calendar, the matter of Grady versus Miller.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. You folks have a seat.
Miss Miller, who is this?
This is my husband, Casey Miller.
And Miss Grady, this is your son.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is your daughter-in-law.
Yes, ma'am.
You are suing your daughter-in-law. He owes you money for a car that was purchased in 2012. She and your son are married and were living together at that time. Are you still living together?
Yes, ma'am.
They have 2 children. It is your claim that you co-signed for the car for her, payments on the car. You did not repossess the car, but you paid it off.
Yes, ma'am.
And now, a year later, you want that money from her, $5,000.
Well, it hasn't been a year. I paid it off, Your Honor, in October of...
Almost a year.
2013.
Almost a year.
I've been trying to collect the money from her since
Why don't you collect it from your
February.
son?
I signed the contract with Jennifer.
Oh, I'd like to see the contract that you signed with her. This is from the loan company.
Yes.
This isn't an independent contract that you have with her.
No, we signed the contract together.
I understand that, but she's a married person. This is a marital debt. They were living together. You have children.
Yes, ma'am.
2 children.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we'll go through this relatively quickly, Miss Grady. In 2012, your son and Miss Miller were living together. They had 2 children. I assume that at that time they had 1 car.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working?
I was working, yes. At the time I was.
Just think carefully before you give me an
I
answer.
apologize, yes.
At
I
that
was
time, were
working
you
at that
working?
time. Yes, ma'am.
Who took care of the children?
Me and my husband.
Well, they were too young for you and your husband to be taking care of them if you and your husband were both working. I assume he was working.
He works on his own kind of...
What is this? I'm not getting a good feeling from you.
Easy hours. He can pick the kids up. They're in school full-time, and then after school, he picks them up. And at this point, they're in an after-school care, child care type thing, but at the time, they were not. He would just pick them up after school. And then he took care of them the rest of the evening until I got home.
He did?
He did. My husband did.
And who did you work for?
Worked for an OBGYN.
In what capacity?
I'm a nurse.
And you were working there in 2012?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So both you and your husband needed a car?
Yes, ma'am.
In order to get to your work?
Correct.
Great. Okay, so the other car that the family had was in whose name?
It is in my name.
How come the cars are both in your name?
Because my grandfather died, and when he died, my grandmother no longer wanted the vehicle. And so she gave it to me.
That was the other car?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car is that?
It is a Ford Expedition.
And that's the car that your husband was driving?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how many children do you have?
I have 3.
3. So you knew that she had let your son use a car that was gifted to her so that he had a way to get to work and pick up the children. She did not have a car.
And so she needed a car, Your Honor.
Right. No, the family needed a car. You get where I'm going?
Yeah.
May I say something?
You can say whatever you like.
Okay. I felt like I was taken advantage of at the time that I did sign this contract because I did not drive the car. I didn't know that my son's driver's license had been suspended, and so it made me responsible for the vehicle. And I did add the vehicle to my insurance.
Ms. Grady, there's more to this case than I need to know.
Okay.
What you need to know is, and what I need to find out is, whether or not either one of you have filed for divorce.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
And you're still together as a couple.
Yes, ma'am. Happily.
Well, I assume that you're happy. You did have an altercation with Miss Grady because there is, in fact, a counterclaim that you want to discuss with me.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You want to tell me your version of what happened a year ago when you paid off this car?
Yes, ma'am.
That was in October.
I paid the car off for the reason she had agreed that she would make the payments on the car on time because I was worried about my credit history.
Don't tell me she agreed she would make the payments on the car on time and...
And I have a credit history, a payment history of the payments that were made, which she was only made one of them on time. And then when I did pay the car off...
Just a second. So she made one on time. Why didn't you repossess the car and give it back?
Because I seen they needed a car.
That's right. You thought they needed a car.
But that's so
your
inaccurate.
choice was, if she was reneging on this agreement that you allegedly had with her, then what you do is you repossess the car, sell it, so that you're not in the hole.
Give me the car back.
No, you didn't.
Can I submit this, Judge?
You're changing your story all the time, Miss Grady. Let's talk about what we know, because then you had an argument with her, which is really why this whole thing came about.
Correct.
You had a big argument with her. And now the situation is that I assume that both of them are not forthcoming with you seeing your grandchildren.
They said I couldn't see my grandchildren because I made an attempt to go to their house, and my daughter was with me to make some kind of arrangements where they could start paying me back some of my money toward the car.
You say the word they, and you're right when you use the word they. This is a marital obligation, and she's your mother. Pay her.
Yeah.
You got a free, stand up. You got a free car, right? The family needed 2 cars.
Right.
So why didn't you pay your mother?
I went to go in to pay the car payment, and I talked to the bank teller, and she had already told me, oh, well, the bank loan was paid off today. So she didn't, like, when I went to go in, and that was
There's
the
only
payment
one
through
late
the bank.
payment that we have on here.
Can I see the payment history?
We paid things in sections because of how I got paid and because of our financial situation.
They made the payments on the car. There were a couple of them that were late.
I have payment history since the loan was on
I'm
my
looking at the
Tinker
transaction history.
against my good credit, and I knew I had upcoming surgery, and all my credit is on 0, and I had to put my surgery on 0.
You had a choice. Your choice is you repossess the car and take it back and sell it.
I tried to get the car back. I told her my daughter would take over the payments.
She took her name off the title as well.
That's because I carried the insurance on it when I found out the insurance wasn't valid.
Just a second. Did you take your name off the title at the same time that you paid off the car?
I took it off before because I knew that the insurance that I had been carrying on the car was no good because the car wasn't parked at my address. So I called him, told him I was taking the insurance off the car. I have proof that I carried the insurance on the car.
I don't care, Miss Grady.
Okay.
Your choice was to take the car back and sell it, not to pay it off
They
and
wouldn't
wait
give
a
it back.
year until you've had difficulty with them. You want to tell me what the fight was about, Miss Miller? I'll
Yes,
get to
ma'am.
your counterclaim quickly.
She came over to our house
When?
unannounced, shortly after when she was starting to do this lawsuit. I don't have
Give
an
me
exact
a
date.
month.
I don't have an exact time. I'm sorry.
Give me a month. Well, then it's not necessarily that important to you.
April would be the month, but I'm not exact.
April of
April.
2014.
Yes, ma'am.
That was months.
Or I'm
months.
sorry, 2013, not 14.
No.
Was it 14? No. I apologize. I just didn't have that date.
Well, if it was that important to you, because what you're suing for is emotional distress. If you can't even remember the month.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but there's too many occasions that happen with her for me to actually point out one occasion.
Let me tell you this. You're not pointing out anything. Your wife filed a counterclaim for emotional distress.
Right.
The emotional distress to an incident when your mother allegedly came to the house.
Right.
Listen to me carefully.
Yes,
your
ma'am.
wife cannot even tell me the month and year that happened. If she can't tell me the month and year that your mother came over and there was a kerfuffle in your house unannounced in front of your children, then she couldn't have been so emotionally distressed. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You haven't done it already, but I think you have to sue him.
Well, I signed the contract, ma'am.
I think you have to. No, you didn't sign a contract with her. You signed a contract with a loan company. Listen to me. You have to sue him.
And later today,
Why didn't you have insurance?
I currently was unemployed and couldn't afford it.
But you were smart enough to know that if he called the police and they arrested you on the way home, they would impound your car.
Correct.
So tell me what you're defending.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Erna Lee Grady says daughter-in-law Jennifer Miller owes for a car she helped her purchase. The defendant is countersuing for emotional distress.
Go ahead.
April 2014, she came over to my house unannounced, showed up with her other two not home. I walk outside, shut the door so that she is not around my children. She pushed me. She tried to pull the door open.
Well,
She
why were
demanded
you-
to give me a letter,
This is what-
demanded that I pay her money. I said, take it up with your son. She said, I'll see you in court. I said, see me in court then because I'm not doing anything. I've asked you to take it up with him because I don't want issues. My children
Right.
walked outside at that time. They not only saw her, both of my children.
I think you have to sue him.
But the
Shh. I think You haven't done it already, but I think you have to sue him.
Well, I signed the contract, ma'am.
I think you have to. No, you didn't sign a contract with her. You signed a contract with a loan company.
Well,
I think
the
you have.
car is the
I think.
collateral.
Listen to me. You have to sue him. You had a choice a year ago. You either repossessed the car if she wasn't making payments, which
They
she
wouldn't
was,
give it to
albeit
me.
late, or you suck it up and be a parent, and you know that your son got a car for nothing from her family, and they needed a second car, and that's what you helped out with. And when they appeared to be struggling, you went in and you made the payment for them and you paid the car off.
They never told me, ma'am, that neither one of them had valid driver's license.
Goodbye, Miss Grady.
Please excuse me. Step out.
She's my mom. I love my mom.
I'm hurt. I've been deceived.
Tired of her just thinking about herself and money. That's all she's ever been is money.
I've learned a big lesson. Don't ever help out your family with money.
This crazy woman took.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Avery versus Fair. Step forward.
23-year-old Joshua Avery is suing Kimberly Fair for backing into his car in a parking lot.
Mr. Avery, you met the defendant, according to what I've read, when she came to kind of a job.
Customer service position,
And on what date did she come for this interview?
October 19th, 2013.
And it is your claim that after she left the interview, she accidentally, but did in fact, hit your car
That is correct, Your
and
Honor.
dent your car, and you want her to be responsible for your deductible.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And Ms. Fair says it was somebody else. So why don't you tell me what you observed after the interview, after Ms. Fair left the interview? She was interviewed by you.
That is correct.
Tell me what you observed.
I observed Miss Fair get in her vehicle, then she backed up, parked the vehicle exactly where she had stopped, got out of her vehicle, looked down, because in my view I couldn't see what she was looking at. Then she got back into her vehicle and left.
Now, that's the diagram. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Would you please show me what your vantage point was?
Okay. I was in the lobby of our building, which is right here, and I was able to view straight across to the street.
So you couldn't see your car being hit,
That is correct, Your Honor.
but you saw the defendant get into her car? Show me where you saw her get into her car.
Her vehicle was right here.
Well, they have it one over. Is it the yellow or is it the blue?
It is the yellow.
Okay. That was her car.
That is
And she
correct.
had to back out.
That is correct.
And she backed out. And what you're saying is she backed out and hit your car as she was backing out?
That is correct.
You did not see that because of the blocked cars.
I did not see the contact. That is correct.
Now, you hadn't parked your car there.
That is correct.
How did your car get there? Because it's not in a parking place.
My car had just finished being washed by the car wash guy that we have come to our office to wash our vehicles.
So he parked it where he shouldn't have.
It was already parked there because that's where he washed it.
Where does he usually wash the cars?
When we are open for business on the back, which is our service center, he does it around the back, Your Honor, which is on the other side, not visible in this diagram.
Why would he decide to wash cars where he could get other cars wet and damage other cars? Why would he do that?
Well, Your Honor, there was a little bit more space between the vehicle and the parked cars, and instead of where my car would have normally be parked, where it would be even closer to the vehicles, he chose to wash it there.
He could have gone in the back.
He could have, yes, Your Honor.
Yes, he could have gone in
Yes,
the back.
he could have, Your Honor.
But he didn't.
He did not.
The defendant had a more difficult time backing out because your car was parked there and she hit it.
Yes.
That's what you're
Your Honor.
suggesting. Okay, go ahead. Now, you didn't see the collision.
That
you
is
didn't see
correct.
the collision, but you saw her stop at some point at the end of the parking lot and get out of her car.
Not at the end of the parking lot, a couple feet away from the vehicle.
She stopped
That is correct.
and got out of the car,
That is correct.
walked to the front of the car.
She was backing out, so she had walked behind her vehicle.
She
looked
walked
down.
behind
Yes,
at the back of her car.
that is correct.
And then from the back of her car, she walked back inside, got into her car,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and left.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And what happened next?
Then I have the person, JC, who was washing the vehicle. Okay, he had seen that, and he came and grabbed me, and then he left, and Kimberly was already gone, but I had let him leave because there was nothing he can do in this situation. Then Kimberly had come back and spoke to me about the accident.
She came back the same day.
That is correct, within, I would say, 15 minutes.
What was the conversation?
That she did not have insurance.
No, tell me what she said. She walks in.
Well, I was outside on the phone looking at the damaged vehicle.
So you were outside.
Yes.
And what did she say to you?
And she had come up to me and told me that she did not have insurance and that she wanted me to allow her to make it home. She wanted to be able to make the vehicle at her house so the police wouldn't come because she didn't have insurance, and she said she was going to do everything she could to pay me back.
Is the first word she said to you when she came back, "I have no insurance"?
Yes, that's what she said.
Were those the first words she said to you?
Yes.
Not an I'm sorry I hit your car, just I have no insurance.
No, it was almost frantic, as if like, I don't have insurance.
Why didn't you have insurance, Miss Fair?
I currently was unemployed and couldn't afford it.
But you were smart enough to know that if he called the police and they arrested you on the way home, they would impound your car if you didn't have insurance.
Correct.
So tell me what your defense is. Don't look up at the sky. Right now, what I'm getting is you came back because you were afraid somebody had taken down your license plate number. You said, I don't have insurance. Let me wait until I get home so I can park my car so they won't impound it because I don't have the money to pay impound fees, which all is the mind of somebody who's been doing a lot of thinking in that few minutes' time. And then you took your car home, correct? Mm-hmm. A hum is not a yes. You took your car home, and?
And I called my son.
And?
Because I was frantic.
What were you frantic about?
Well, first of all, I don't see it his way.
Don't tell me you don't see it his way.
All right.
You know, I know you got to drill what you said in the answer. You're not going to humiliate yourself now. So you hit his car.
Yes.
Great.
No, I did not.
Was that easy?
No.
Was that easy? Was that easy? You got it out. You hit his car, and you had no insurance, and all he wanted was his deductible, which is $1,000. That's what he wants, and he's entitled to it. So don't make up any stories, Miss Fair. It belittles you, and it's demeaning. I wouldn't do that. You hit his car, say, I'm sorry, I'll get you your $1,000. He doesn't care if you get it to him in $50 a month payments. He just wants you to take responsibility. Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
These are excuses. You may step out.
I didn't hit his car.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
It was illegally parked, period.
She just didn't see the vehicle.
He called his mama.
I called my mom because, of course, she's taken care of me my whole life and she always has the right answer.
No, I did not get the job.
She had left, which obviously shows horrible character.
It is what it is.
Anybody?
Sunshine, stand.
Is this girlfriend a key to the case?
Did you tell your boyfriend that Mr. Simeon was flirting with you?
I did.
Or the cause of the problem?
Sunshine, what exactly did you tell him?
I told him that he had made some derogatory remarks towards me.
And after that, the money went poof.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
Dennis Simeon is suing his former friend, Dennis Bremer, for a loan to pay rent and bills.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 27 on the calendar, the matter of Simeon versus Bremer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Bremer, I'm going to start with you, not because you have a counterclaim, but because I want to get some information from you. How long have you known Mr. Simeon?
It's been over 10 years, ma'am.
And how do you know him?
Through his daughter, I believe.
Well, explain it to me.
It's just, I've been friends with him for a long time. He was a good guy. I mean, he's done lots of good things for me. We've helped each other out.
Okay. And I want you to tell me who these two people are.
Yes, this is my girlfriend.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bremer, Mr. Simeon gave you some money.
Correct.
When did he give you the money?
As far as the dates go, I have a bad memory.
Month
This was,
and year.
Probably March 2012 it was.
So almost 2 years ago.
Is it okay if I have her come up and help me out here? Because
No.
she knows a lot more information than I do.
No. Was she there when he gave you the money?
Yes, she was, Your Honor.
Oh, great. Terrific. Sunshine, stand. Because I have some questions for Sunshine, too. Okay. What's your last name?
Hunter.
All right. Miss Hunter, you were present when Mr. Simeon gave your boyfriend some money?
Yes, I was.
Month and year.
March of 2013.
Where were you when he gave him the money?
We were at his house.
Whose house?
Dennis's.
Mr. Simeon's house.
Simeon's.
What had you gone there for?
We went there specifically to pick up the money that he offered to give us previously.
And he offered to give you the money because you needed money for?
Bills. We have 3 kids. We just moved into a new place where our rent was a lot higher than we were used to, and our income didn't cover it all.
And do you have 3 children with the boyfriend?
No.
No,
he's not the biological father.
Of any of your 3 children?
Of any of them, no.
Were you present when your boyfriend asked for the money.
No, he did not ask.
Simeon offered the money.
Yes, I was.
Where did that take place?
On a county road near Simeon's house.
Is that where the conversation took place?
No, ma'am.
Ridiculous. How much money, Mr. Bremer, listen to me very carefully, how much money did Mr. Simeon give you in total?
$1,400.
At one time?
No, 2 different times.
The first time he gave you?
$1,000.
And how much later did he give you the other 400?
Just a few months later.
And tell me about the $400. Your girlfriend's going to tell me the same story you told me in your answer, that you were driving down the county road and you passed each other in the car. And he said, how are things going? And you said, well, things aren't going so well because we got our 3 kids and we just moved into a new place, so we need some more money. And he said, well, I just came into a whole bunch of money, so I can give you some money. How much do you need? Something like that, and I'll make a gift to you because that's what friends are for. Is that pretty much the conversation you're selling to me today?
Yes.
I love it. Should be a screenwriter. Now, when we finish this Wizard of Oz tale over here of the Yellow Brick Road, Mr. Simeon, do you want to tell me how at Sunshine money?
They come over to my home and was explaining to me that they were getting evicted out of the house that he was living in. He was living in a house with him, his brother, Sunshine, and 3 kids. But it was a 2-bedroom house. When the landlord found out about it, he told Dennis that he had to leave. He had to move out. They explained to me that they had been looking for a home, and they didn't want to take, the kids are older in junior high and going into high school, and they didn't want to lose, they'd moved so many times that they didn't want to move away from their friends again. And was there anything I could do for them? I said, well, how much is the house? They said, well, it was $1,000 deposit, $800 a month. I said, so you need $2,000? They said, yes. So I counted out $2,000, and well, first we had a discussion when he would pay me back. He told me that he had a bonus coming from his job, and he had his 401k, but he had just quit his job. And he was going to cash all that out.
Well, if he was not working, he wasn't going to get a bonus.
Well, yes, I listened to the phone conversation he had with the human resource lady, and since he had worked there after the bonus had already been established, they were just waiting for it to be put into each account for each employee.
What'd you quit your job for?
I had an altercation with the boss. The company got a lot bigger.
And?
Things got, and I wanted something different to where it
So
wasn't.
where did you go?
Well, I didn't go anywhere right away.
Where were you working now?
I'm driving for it's like a taxi service. I drive the Amish around.
So you didn't find another job after you quit this one?
Well, I was kind of driving truck semi off and on for cash for a local company, but that was about it. Otherwise, I was driving the Amish
How much did you
around.
get from your 401k?
I believe it was from...
Sunshine will know.
I have a bad memory.
How
I'm
much
sorry.
did he get from the 401k?
I want to say he got $1,400.
And how much did you get from your bonus, Mr. Bremer?
I believe it was like $300 or $500. Did I even get a bonus at the time?
What's the name of the human resource lady that you called?
I don't remember her name.
Try hard to think about it. Where did you get the number from to call the human resource lady?
I had the number on my phone.
So let me explain to you what just happened, Mr. Bremer. What just happened is the Wizard of Oz story about passing on County Road and saying, oh, I can give you $1,000 because that just went down the toilet. Because he was very house and he wanted to know when he was going to get paid back. So you called the human resource lady. Now, that's not a conversation he would make up because, you know, you have to pick that out of the air. But you just confirmed to me that you called Human Resources to find out how much you were going to get. $2,000. Okay. And then he says another $400 later. Now, let me tell you what I think happened, Mr. Bremer. Sunshine, pay attention to me, dear. Did you tell your boyfriend that Mr. Simeon was flirting with you?
I did.
And that was after Mr. Simeon gave you money.
It's when it turned physical that I tell
Just
him.
listen to me. That was after Mr. Simeon gave you money.
Correct.
And so you told your boyfriend that Mr. Simeon was flirting with you. What exactly did you tell him?
I told him that he had made some derogatory remarks towards me.
And you told that to your boyfriend?
Yes, I did.
And after that, the money went poof. So, you know, I don't believe anything that they told me, actually, because I got the passing along the county road story that already went south. So this story, I don't believe it becomes a convenient mechanism for not paying you back what you're owed. Okay, so right now, your team, $2,400, $2,000 that you say you gave them. You said $1,000, I don't believe them. $400 they acknowledge that you gave them later. So
it was $1,000 later. Well, the second time they came to me, I loaned him $1,000. He came and told me that he needed $1,000 to put a transmission in the car so she could keep her job so they wouldn't lose the house. And so I give him $1,000 over at Jesse house. He was putting an engine in my daughter's car, and Dennis Brimmer's father was there. And I was telling him, when is your kid going to pay
Mr. Simeon,
me
you
my
have
money?
to keep your story straight, or otherwise I'm going to throw you all out. You say, Dennis came to me, he said he needed money to move into a place with his girlfriend. I loaned him $2,000 for his first month's rent and deposit.
Yes.
That's $2,000.
Yes.
Then you say he needed transmission done on his car, which cost $300.
That's what I found out it cost after I asked his father, when's your son going to start paying back his money? He goes, what money? I said, well, I give him $1,000 to put a tranny in the car. He says, well, he's a excuse my French, he's a liar. He said, I'm going to call him on the phone right now. Me and Toby put that transmission in Dennis's car, and it was only $300.
Okay, so it does say that you gave him $1,000 to fix the transmission, but it only cost him $300.
That's what his
but
father
he didn't
told
pay
me.
you any of the money back.
No, ma'am, he didn't give me
Okay,
any.
great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What does your landlord have to do with this case?
I received a phone call, and they said that...
Who's they?
It was a male.
Male who said to you...
Your people are cooking meth and dealing drugs, and they're going to ruin your building.
And later today...
How much were they supposed to be sold for?
Anywhere from $60 to $80.
Well, then you're not making not much of a profit margin.
Exactly.
More than me.
I don't care. I actually don't care about anything, including this case, but I'm going to...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Dennis Simeon is suing former friend Dennis Bremer for an unpaid loan to pay rent and bills. Dennis is countersuing for an assault.
Now, you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for harassment.
Correct.
What does your landlord have to do with this case?
Your Honor, I received a phone call.
Yes?
I received a phone call, and they said that...
Who's they?
It was a male.
Male who said to you...
Male voice said, your people on that are cooking meth and dealing drugs, and they're going to ruin your building.
Okay, good. Sit down. Now, did you ascertain the name of the person who told you that?
No.
Good. Sit. So she's useless. Now, you want to move on with your counterclaim, and I'll hear the one for assault. I want you to tell me how Mr. Simeon, after you failed to pay him back the $3,000 that you owe him, sit down, Sunshine,
Yes, ma'am.
assaulted you.
It was on the 6th of April, and I was walking down the
6th
line.
of April, what year?
Last month, this year.
Oh, so that you remember.
Correct.
The money that he lent you, you don't remember because you don't have a good memory.
He didn't loan me no money, Your Honor.
Yeah, he did. He did. And your girlfriend's a liar. Go. 6th of April.
Yes, ma'am. I was walking to the library to get some movies, and I would start walking up the ramp, and he had come walking up to me, started screaming that I owed him a bunch of money and I need to pay it back immediately, and just started cussing and ranting and raving. I told him I don't owe you any money. Please get away from me, get out of my face, you know, just stuff like that. And he ended up just swearing, saying how much I owe him, this and that, and then took a swing at me. I blocked it.
He took a swing at you where?
Towards the face, but he couldn't really do it. I mean, physically
So he didn't
able.
assault you?
He hit me in the arm because I blocked it, in the shoulder.
Goodbye. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Goodbye.
What is our excuse me? Step back. He had plenty of money at the time. He had lots of money.
I thought he would have paid me back.
We didn't want to take it, and he kept repeating it. So we said, yeah.
He's a good kid, you know, but I think she's trying to come in and throw a wrench in there.
It was always verbal, and then when he tried to lift my skirt, that was it.
Come on now. I'm a happily married man.
So I'd be done with it.
Well, from now on, if I do loan money, there's going to be a contract.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Davis Goodman versus Valenzuela step forward.
Jody Davis and business partner Catherine Goodman are suing clothing maker Don Valenzuela for the return of his fee to manufacture blue jeans.
Who is Miss Davis? Are you going to speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Davis, you and I assume your partner, is this your partner?
Yes, ma'am.
Decided to design a line of jeans, and you retained the defendant, your label. So far, is that right?
Well, I'm not a manufacturer. I'm a consultant that works with manufacturers to produce her goods.
Well, so you're a middleman.
Exactly.
But it was your responsibility to deliver
place the goods.
deliver the merchandise to her. She didn't care whether you sewed it in your bedroom or whether you outsourced it to somebody else.
Exactly.
Because you were being paid to deliver the jeans to her. Now, your lawsuit is twofold. A, he made them wrong, and the size wouldn't fit anybody. And B, that he shortchanged you in the number. He wants your money back.
Correct.
And I don't know how much you paid him. How much did you pay him?
$11,133, and that's not including the $450 sample gene.
So, and you know, my limit is $5,000 in this court, so that's what you're suing him for, $5,000. Mr. Valenzuela said, I don't know what he said, he's suing you for the balance of what you owe him. How much, Mr. Valenzuela, were you being paid for delivering one pair of jeans?
Roughly, I think, $39.
And how much were they supposed to, well, she says no. How much were they supposed to be sold for?
$39 is the basic pair before the embellishments. Brings the jean to $50.
You mean that you're going to sell them for, or that the cost is?
We retail them anywhere from $60 to $80, Kathy and I.
Well, then you're not making, it's not much of a profit margin.
Exactly.
Not much.
More than me.
I don't care. I actually don't care about it. $39 is what you pair of jeans. And how many pairs of jeans were you supposed to manufacture for them?
300.
And how many did you manufacture?
300.
How many did you deliver?
148.
And why didn't you deliver the rest?
I was not responsible for the cutting of the lace, which is actually applied on the pair of pants.
Who was responsible for that?
They were.
And?
Well, I gave them options for pre-cut lace, but they wanted to opt for the hand-cut lace. So I have examples here.
I knew it when I looked at it. I knew it when I looked at it. Can I see the various sizes of the jeans that he delivered to you that you say you don't want to pay for?
Well, these are 23s.
But we have paid for them.
And they fit my 9-year-old daughter, except they're too long. And we wanted to wholesale for women. We're making a women's jean.
Well, what is the size that they're supposed to be?
25. This is labeled a 23, but it's actually a 21-inch jean.
Do you have a tape measure to show them so that you can measure it? What?
May I bring up my witness to explain the sizing and why the size is the way it is?
No. I just want a tape measure. She says it's 21 inches. I just want to see. What do you want?
This was not the sample they provided for
Listen
me
to
to duplicate.
I didn't ask you a question.
Okay.
Just measure that waist for me and tell me what the waist is on that jean.
It is...
No, hold it out the whole way.
The whole way? Okay.
Second. That's not the most, that's the most ridiculous. Are you in business?
That's not a way to tape measure a pair of pants.
Of course not. What kind of business are you in? Are you in the jean business? That's ridiculous.
Obviously not.
If you say another word, I'm throwing you out, which would be my pleasure, believe me. Listen, girls, give it to me.
Okay.
Go.
Okay.
Give it to me and go.
Okay.
Went to law school, and these people want to design jeans. It's almost 12. That would be 24. 24-inch waist. And sadly, I do actually know some people who have a 24-inch waist. However, my ankle would not fit in here, but that doesn't mean anything.
Those are marked 23 inside, ma'am. Yes, please look at the label.
Well, then they would certainly fit somebody. If they're marked 23, and it's a... Listen, but don't annoy me. You've already annoyed me, so don't annoy me anymore. If it's marked 23, and I measure 12, then somebody could actually wear these. Good. So now, so far, you have no complaint. What's next? What else do you want?
Kathy and I have paid Dawn over $11,000 for 300 pairs of jeans. At the end of the day, this is what this is about. We only
Just a second, I understand that. How many pairs of jeans did you get?
121 pairs.
So you're missing half the pair?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, why didn't you deliver the other half?
They did not want them. May I bring up my witness to explain the sizing and why the merchandise
No, listen to me. Sizing you won. Listen to me carefully. If you weren't so busy waving your hand, you would know sizing you won. Now we're talking about non-delivery of product. Do you understand that?
Exactly.
Where's their product? You didn't deliver it. You have to return their money. They paid you $11,000 for 300 pairs of jeans. You agreed on that. That's something that you all agreed on. You only delivered half that number.
May I show you the breakdown of where the money went?
No. Give this
Excuse
back
me,
to
I
them.
have 3 demand letters.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. You count the claims dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They sent me a sample initially to duplicate, which I did. Jody approved the sizing. I proceeded with production.
We moved past the sizing a year and a half ago.
They didn't want to include the smaller sizes in the production.
It was about the money that we gave to Dawn and the product that was never delivered.
They expected me to pay for it.
I am just so thankful it's over with right now.
Parking spaces for years.
Etiquette went out the window.
You took a parking space and she was waiting for it. And it happens all the time.
No, ma'am.
You can shake your head all you like, but that's exactly what happened.
No, Your Honor.
Can her husband be a steadying force?
I know what happened with the spot. Your wife snuck into the spot. She can shake her head until it falls off.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
22-year-old Jeanette Camarillo is suing fellow motorist, 21-year-old Marilyn Castillo, for keying her car over a parking space.
Order. All rise. This is case number 78 on the calendar, the matter of Camarillo versus Castillo. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
So this is what you say happened, and then I'm going to tell you what really happened. You were going to a parking area. To do what?
I was going to take my kids to the fair.
To what?
To the street fair.
You were going to a fair?
Yes.
And the parking lot was very crowded because there was a
Yes.
fair. And everybody was looking for parking spaces. Who else was with you?
My husband and my...
Looking for a parking space.
There was not that many cars. It was only me going in.
No. Not you. She was there.
No, she was not there.
Yes, she was.
No,
Yeah,
she was, but she was with her engine off.
She was sitting in the car with her engine off, waiting for a parking space.
But I arrived.
This is... No.
I arrived.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I know what happened. 71. I know what happened.
No, you don't.
She's sitting in her car waiting for somebody to get out of a parking space so she can go in to the parking space, correct?
Correct.
A man is walking towards his car and everybody says,
No, I'm not
aha,
walking.
or somebody was walking towards their car. That's what you say. This is what you say. I'm telling you what you say in your complaint. That a man was walking towards their car and waved you on to follow him to go and get his parking space.
Yes.
Somebody that you didn't know.
No, I didn't know him.
Right. But he waved you on. Now, when he got to the parking space, her car was sitting right there with the engine off.
No, she was not sitting there. She was sitting far apart from where the man was going to come out.
How? Well,
She just turned on and sit right in back of the man. She didn't even let him get out of his parking spot.
Correct. Because she was sitting there.
No, she was not sitting
Miss
there.
Camarillo, we can do this several different ways. What happened was when you pulled into the park, it may have had the engine on, it may have had the engine off, but her car was already there.
Yeah, but she was far away from
She
where
wasn't
the car
far
was.
away.
Yes, she was.
No,
she
wasn't
was
far.
like
Hey,
6 cars apart.
Maybe
I was closer.
Just a second. You were closer. But
I was
she had...
closer. I got there
Miss
where the man was
Camarillo,
going to
no.
get out first. I got there first.
You didn't.
Yes, I did.
Miss Camarillo, you didn't get there first
Yes, I did
because
get there
according to you...
How do I know she was not waiting for
I'm
somebody?
going to throw
with
you
her
out
engine
unless you put on your listening ears. I'm going to throw you out and not even let you finish. According to you, her car was turned off. That you knew. So her car was in the parking lot before you got there because she was sitting and waiting for a space. You, according to your complaint, just pulled into the lot. That's what you say. And fortunately, you saw a man who you say waved you to follow him to get his parking space. But she was already in the lot. She may have been 3 cars away or 6 cars away, but she's sitting there waiting for somebody to enter their car in that line so that she can get that spot. That's what happened. She zipped in so that the man couldn't get out. And she said, it's my spot. He said, no, wait. She had to let the man out. As soon as she backed up and he got out, car, and whatever words there were, we'll discuss what words there were later because that's your complaint. Your complaint is that she came back because you parked there and you stole her parking space. She came back and vandalized your car. That's what the case is about. But let's make it absolutely clear whether she had a right to that parking space or not. If she vandalized your car, she's not allowed to do that. But I know what you did. You took the parking space and she was waiting for it. And it happens all the time.
No, ma'am. Yes.
All the time.
No, you're
Somebody, that's exactly what happened.
No.
You scooted into that parking spot and you knew that she was sitting there with the engine off waiting for it. You can shake your head all you like.
No.
But that's exactly what happened. Because that's what that says. And that's what you just told me.
No.
You just told me she was sitting 6 cars away with her engine off. What did you think she was doing? You think she was taking
I
a
don't
nap?
know. Maybe.
You think, well, but then she told you. Just a minute.
Maybe.
Hey, pay attention to me. But then she pulled up in her car and waiting for a space. You didn't care. Then you knew she wasn't taking a nap. Then you knew she wasn't there having a tuna sandwich. You knew she was there
She may have.
waiting for a space. And you saw her car because you saw it because you just said to me her car had the engine off.
Yeah, well, her engine was off. I didn't know what was she waiting for. What was she doing?
Well, then she told you. I've been sitting here waiting for
But I was already
just...
there.
You were not
No,
there.
you weren't.
Yes, I was.
You had just come in.
But she was sitting over there, further away. I mean,
Now, I've determined that you stole her parking space. That doesn't give her the right to vandalize your car. So you parked your car and you went to the fair. You left with your husband and your 2 children.
no, my husband decided to stay around there.
Let's see if I believe him any more
Because
than
she
I believe
threatened
you.
me she was going to come back and my car. That's what she told me.
So then why did you leave your car there?
Because my baby was crying that he wanted to go to the fair.
Do you know I don't believe her? Now you're going to get up here and you're going to tell me your last name is?
Luna.
Mr. Luna, you're going to tell me how it came about that you saw the defendant scratch your car.
Okay. This is what happened. Okay, we went into the parking spot.
Listen, I know what happened with the spot. Your wife snuck into the spot. I've already determined that, because that's what happened. She can shake her head until it falls off. That's what happened. That's what happened. That doesn't excuse somebody vandalizing your car. But I've already determined what happened based upon what she told me. Based upon what she told me, I've determined what happened. Do you want me to recap it for you, sir?
No, it's fine.
I'm going to recap it for you. You pulled into the parking lot. A man who you didn't know waved you to his parking space where he was going to give you his parking. Your wife says sitting 6 cars away with the engine off was defendant's car. As soon as the man got into his car, according to your wife, the defendant turned on her car and blocked him from getting out because your wife was coming from the other direction. And she said to your wife, I was waiting for the spot.
Yes, I did.
She told her that.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Yes, she did. She had to let him out eventually. And when she let him out, she backed up. Your wife pulled in. That's what happened.
No, it's not.
Your head's going to fall off, and I don't care. I don't care. Because that's what happened.
But how are you going to say that's what happened if you don't even see it?
Just a second. I see it in my mind's eye. I'm 71 years old. I know exactly what happened. People have been taking my parking spaces for years. Now I want you to tell me what happened after your wife stole the parking space. Start at that point.
I decided to tell her, like, I was worrying about what she was going to do to the car. Because before she left, she told us, I'm a your car, okay? And I was worrying about it, and I decided to go back to the parking lot. That's when I saw her going into a parking lot, and I decided to go up to the stairs, and I saw her scratching my wife's car. When I told him, hey, she just left, run to her car, and she left. I memorized her place number.
Police report?
Yeah, we do have
I'd like to see it. Thank you. This police report doesn't say you told the police that you had seen anybody, that your car was keyed.
She was the one who would make the testimony, though. I was
the
taking care
one
of my kids.
who told the police officer.
This says that you both went to the street fair.
Okay.
And it says the incident occurred today at 15:10 hours. Female drivers, she was going to key the victim's vehicle. The 2 of you went to the HP fair, and when they returned, the victim's vehicle was keyed, and suspect's vehicle was no longer in the area.
She keyed my car.
I did not
told
key your car.
Yes, you did.
I did not key
Just
your
Yes,
car.
you did.
I haven't.
She
That's
threatened
not
me,
what it
and
says.
he saw her key my car.
How did you
That's not-
see me?
Shh.
He
That's
saw
not
you.
what it says.
I didn't see you. He saw
Well, then
you.
I can't help you. It's not what it says, and I don't believe you.
Why you don't believe me?
Very easily.
Look,
Because if
this
you
is-
pay attention.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
When they arrested you, who did you call?
I called Miss Martin.
Why?
Miss Martin requested that I do not call him any longer when I'm in trouble because she doesn't.
real case at Camarillo says fellow motorist Marilyn Castillo keyed her car over a parking space. Marilyn denies the charge.
Because if you witnessed it, not her, if you witnessed it, then you would have been the one to report it to the police. Not her, because she says, I was at the fair.
Okay.
She said,
She's the owner of the car.
That's
and
okay.
she was talking to the police officer. Okay, and I was
Then
taking
she
care of my
would've-
kid.
then
He
she-
was a newborn on that time.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me, my friend. You're an intelligent man. If you witness a robbery of a car, you take the testimony of the owner of the car and say, I didn't give so-and-so permission to steal my car, but I didn't see it. This is the witness. This is the person who saw her vandalized the car. Take down that testimony. That's not what your wife said to the police.
Yes,
what
I
your
did
wife
tell
said,
him.
this is your report.
Yeah, but I told the police officer she made several mistakes on that report. She didn't even spell my name right. I mean, she was in a hurry. I don't know. I didn't realize till I got home. But I did tell him that my husband saw her keep my car.
Well, that's not
and
what it
she
says
threatened
here.
me before she left.
That's
and
not.
came
That's
back.
not here. That's not here.
Well, I don't know why
and
she didn't
did
write
you
it
key the
there.
car?
I did not. Yes,
Goodbye.
Parties are excused when you step out.
It's ridiculous. She should have paid for what she did to my car. I think it was the car. He saw her vandalize my car. There was no way I could have keyed her car.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Martin versus Bageska. Step forward.
Dana Martin is suing her former friend, Suzette Bageska, for an unpaid loan after she was arrested for a DUI.
What were you arrested for?
Originally, or when she bailed me out?
When she bailed you out.
I had a warrant for missing court.
And what was the underlying case that you
The
had a warrant?
underlying case was a DUI.
Your first DUI?
Yes.
Why did you miss court?
I didn't realize that it was that day, so I missed it.
Well,
I
if
didn't
you've
even
only
realize
had,
I had
how
a
many
warrant.
times have you been arrested?
It was the one time, but I had several court cases, several times to go.
No, if you have one court case, they only give you one date. Now, if you have multiple court cases, I could see you getting confused. But if you only have one court case, then you know. When they tell you to come back, they tell you, case adjourned July 7th, 9:30 in the morning.
Correct, yes.
And?
And then they continue it to another day.
Yes, and normal people, if they've only been arrested once, they remember that date.
Yes, I forgot that date.
Okay, so based upon what you tell me, how old are you?
I am 50 now. I was 49 then.
So you're 50 years old and you've only been arrested once in your life. Is that what
Yes,
you're telling me?
that was DUI, my first one.
So this court and this court experience was your only court experience?
Other than traffic, yes.
What?
Other than traffic.
You were accustomed to?
No, not at all.
Now, when they arrested you on an outstanding warrant, who did you call?
I called Miss Martin.
Why?
When I had my original arrest for the DUI, I called my boyfriend, Georgia Toncheff, and he bailed me out. Miss Martin and my boyfriend do not get along. Miss Martin requested that I do not call him any longer when I'm in trouble because she doesn't like him.
Why did you call her?
That's
from
why I
jail?
called her. I called her.
Why did you call her from jail?
To let her know where I was, and she's always been very supportive of me, and we're best friends, and so I called her. I was upset. And so to let her know where I was, to let her know that I was okay.
How many phone calls did you get?
I got 2.
And who did you call?
I called my mother first.
Right. Not the boyfriend?
No.
Well, what did you call your mother for?
I told my mother where I was at. My mother watches my son with autism, so I told to tell her where I was.
Yes.
And she, of course, cannot. She's 76. She doesn't drive very well on expressways and things, so therefore she could not come get me.
You mean pay for you? Pay the bail to come and get you?
Yes.
Pay the bail to come and get you. So your mother said, I don't drive very well, I can't come on the freeway, and I don't have the money, and I can't come. So the next person you called was her.
Was Dana, yes.
Right. That's what the case is about. You bailed her out, you want your money back. How much? Don't look up there.
$2,900. $2,900 approximately.
Show me.
Go back there.
Use your words and be nice, Bert.
I'm trying.
Use your words and be nice.
I'm trying.
They're not, they're not court people.
Okay.
$240 was for what?
For filing court claims to get her to pay me back. There's 3 bail receipts there. The 3 bail receipts equate to $2,000.
Why 3 bail receipts?
I don't understand how the court works, but that's how that's what they said.
That's what they do? It's for $2,500, correct?
They're going to be $2,700, $27.06 and 45 cents for those 3.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm unemployed, and she knew this, and I was going through a divorce, so all my funds were gone. I had no money whatsoever to pay her back.
Well, how are you supporting yourself now?
Right now, my mother.
Right now?
My mother helps me, and
work.
I'm unable to work at this present time. I have a son, 20-year-old son with autism, and I'm having a difficulty getting respite for him, and therefore I have to stay with him. He's not allowed to be by himself.
Well, who's supporting you?
I have my mother. My son gets some Social Security. I'm on Link, which is food stamps in Illinois. That's about it.
Where did you expect her to get the money to pay?
Out that you can use your credit card to pay, and then I'll pay you as soon as I get out. So I assume.
Well, just a second. If you know her, It's interesting, Ms. Martin. I'm usually pretty straightforward about these cases. But the financial circumstance that she just describes to me is not a financial circumstance where you would expect her to be able to pay you back as soon as she got out because she has no money and she doesn't work.
Well, what she'd informed me, and I gave her the benefit of the doubt if she said she'd pay me back, was bad.
Well, I know
judgment
you
of
gave her the
character.
benefit of the doubt, but if you're best friends with her, which is what you say, you know her financial circumstance. So how did you expect her to pay you back?
She actually informed me that her mother said her mother told her that she would take it out of her IRA, and that it would take a couple days to process with the bank, and that she would pay me back.
Well, that's reasonable. Your mother has an IRA account?
Yes, I'm assuming so.
Did you have that conversation with Miss Martin that your mother was going to take care of your bail, but she couldn't because she doesn't drive very well on the freeway, and if you come and bail me out, my mother will pay you back?
That was the IRA conversation didn't happen at that time.
When did that conversation happen?
Miss Martin was in a car accident, and the deductible was $1,000, and she was kind of getting strapped for money. And I said I would ask my mom, maybe she could take it out of her IRA.
Is that how that happened?
No.
What do you do? What do you do?
I have a buildings, I have a properties and land.
He lives separately from me. We don't live together.
Why?
Why do
Why is he your boyfriend? Why don't you live together?
I'm kind of traditional, and I was married. I just got my divorce was final just recently, and I never lived with a man without being married to him.
Do you get alimony, child support?
I don't.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,800. It's your bail. You pay it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Officer, excuse me, step out.
She told me the day of she would pay me back.
I still don't feel like I really owed her because she knew my situation.
And she continually kept stringing me along with excuse after excuse after excuse.
I think she feels that I lied to her, and I don't feel that I lied to her.
So as far as lying goes, I don't know how she can get out of denying that.
It's just circumstances.